Listen closely. This is for you. There is a version of you that must die, not in the physical sense, but in the spiritual, mental, and emotional sense. A version that is clinging to comfort, hiding from truth, resisting change, and sabotaging your future. And if you do not kill that version of you, it will kill your potential. The greatest tragedy of man is not his failure. It is his refusal to evolve. His tolerance for being almost who he's supposed to be. His comfort with being better than average, yet miles from exceptional. Growth is not a matter of luck. It is not an accident. Growth is a duty. And it does not happen when it is convenient. It happens when it is demanded. You must force yourself to outgrow who you've been. Because that old version of you, that was built in survival, that was shaped by fear, that was tolerated by your past, but it cannot be carried into your future. It is not enough to dream of a better life. You must become the person capable of living it. And that becoming is violent. It requires sacrifice. It requires discomfort. It requires daily war with the parts of you that crave ease over excellence. The man you've been is not the man who will take you where you're going. That version of you, complacent, uncertain, distracted, must be broken down. His habits dismantled. His excuses exposed. His story rewritten. Do you want a new life? Then let go of the identity that is addicted to the old one. This transformation will not feel like progress. It will feel like pain. But do not fear that pain. That pain is the sound of your limitations being shattered. It is the scream of your old self-resisting extinction. Let it scream, let it burn, let it go. Because your higher self is waiting, watching, ready to emerge the moment you stop coddling the weaker version of you. The old you wakes up late, the new you dominates mornings. The old you avoids responsibility. The new you seeks it out. The old you escapes through distractions. The new you pursues discipline with obsession. You will never reach your potential while dragging around the corpse of your past identity. You must bury him. And burying him is not done once. It is done daily. Every time you wake up and choose intention over impulse. Every time you move when you don't feel like it. Every time you do the work without applause. Growth is not found in comfort. Growth is not found in motivation. Growth is found in the resistance, in the friction between who you are and who you're becoming. So stop asking for easy. Easy will betray you. Easy is the comfort food of failure. Instead, ask for truth, ask for challenge, ask for the pressure that forges character. Because here is what most will never understand. Your future self, the one who has power, peace, purpose, he is already inside you, but he is trapped under the weight of your current habits. He is suffocating beneath your excuses. He is screaming behind your distractions, and only you can set him free. Not with words, not with dreams, but with daily, disciplined action. You cannot rise while you remain loyal to who you've been. That loyalty must be broken. That version of you, the one who settles, who hides, who hesitates, he must be betrayed. Yes, betrayed. Because that version of you has betrayed your potential long enough. If you want to rise, you must declare war on your lower nature. You must make your old habits uncomfortable, your old excuses unacceptable, your old patterns unbearable. Stop trying to improve that old version of yourself. He's not worth saving. He was never designed for the heights you're about to reach. You must replace him, not with luck, not with hope, but with brutal, disciplined, intentional growth. I tell you this not to inspire you. I tell you this because it is required, because mediocrity has a gravity. And if you don't push against it with everything you've got, it will pull you back. Understand this. Change will cost you your comfort, your pride, your laziness. But staying the same will cost you everything. Your purpose, your peace, your potential, So stop waiting for the right moment. It doesn't exist. The only right time is the one you decide. Decide now that you are done negotiating with your limitations. Decide now that your old self no longer gets a vote. Decide now that your life will not be dictated by how you feel, but by what you decide. Because growth does not care how you feel. It responds only to one thing: action. You will feel tired. Keep going. You will feel fear. Push forward. You will feel doubt. Act anyway. Because the only way to silence fear is to outgrow it. The only way to destroy doubt is to drown it in progress. The only way to kill the old version of you is to starve him of indulgence and feed him discomfort. You see, the old you was created by accident, through habits you didn't choose, beliefs you inherited, pain you never processed. But the new you, he will be forged by design. He will not come from comfort. He will be summoned in discomfort, built in silence, sharpened in solitude, and eventually he will rise. Not because he was lucky, but because you were willing. Willing to do what was hard. Willing to be misunderstood. Willing to demand more from yourself than anyone else ever did. That is the path of all great men. They outgrow their past. They outlast their weakness. They outdiscipline their distractions. They shed their skin to reveal something unrecognizable. That is what you are doing now. This is not reinvention. This is resurrection. And it begins with a decision. I will no longer live in the shell of who I used to be. Because every day you hesitate, the old you wins. Every time you justify your laziness, the old you tightens his grip. Every time you surrender to comfort, you give him one more day of life. Enough. The world does not need another man stuck in his past. The world needs you, the real you, the focused, the fire-breathing, risk-taking, truth-speaking version of you who no longer waits to be chosen because he has already chosen himself. The man who no longer tiptoes around his greatness but owns it without apology. He is not built overnight, but he is built one brick at a time, one decision at a time, one moment of discomfort at a time. And brick by brick you rise, out of the ashes of your former self, out of the wreckage of your old beliefs, out of the prison of your comfort zone. Because you were never meant to stay the same. You were never designed to plateau. You were created for evolution. And evolution is not optional, it is urgent. You either evolve or you decay. You either rise or you rot. You either kill the old version of you or you become him. So choose now, not later. Now, because if you don't outgrow your old life, it will become your graveyard. And you weren't born to die in mediocrity. You were born to build something eternal. But the foundation must be new. The man must be new. The habits must be new. The commitment must be absolute. Nothing less will do. And yes, this will be hard. But hear me. Hard is the path to heaven. Growth is found in resistance. Strength is built in struggle. Mastery is born from repetition. And greatness? Greatness comes to the man who is willing to bury his former self without ceremony. The man who forces himself every single day to outgrow the version he was yesterday. And that man is you. The man who waits for transformation to happen to him is a man who will wait forever. Transformation is not granted, it is taken. You do not wait to evolve, you force evolution through repetition, through pain, through the daily demolition of the thoughts, behaviors, and boundaries that no longer serve your mission. And yes, it will feel unnatural, because you're walking away from the identity that once kept you safe. But safety is not your goal. Strength is. You must begin to question everything the old version of you called normal. Because normal is the enemy. Normal is the cage. Normal is the graveyard of potential. The version of you that hits the snooze button, that avoids responsibility, that scrolls instead of bills, he is not your friend, he is your captor. And the moment you see him clearly is the moment you reclaim your power. You must develop an intolerance for your own excuses, an allergic reaction to your old patterns, a disgust for stagnation so deep that the thought of remaining the same becomes unbearable. That's when the shift happens. When you stop desiring growth and begin demanding it, you do not have the luxury of time. You do not have the privilege of delay. Because while you hesitate, your potential sits in a cell, unchallenged, unused, unlived. Break it out with action, with intensity, with an unshakable daily standard that says, who I was is no longer acceptable. Because who you were may have gotten you this far, but who you must become is non-negotiable if you intend to go further. Do not merely upgrade your habits, overhaul your identity. Stop calling yourself a man of potential. That title expires quickly. Be the man who executes, who finishes, who doesn't dream of transformation. He embodies it. Everything you do must be filtered through this question. Does this align with the man I'm becoming, or does it serve the man I'm outgrowing? Every decision, every action, every word must pass through that filter. Because once you decide to become the next level version of yourself, nothing is casual anymore. Your food, your schedule, your thoughts, your relationships, all of it must support the vision. All of it must serve the upgrade. And you must protect that vision like a lion guards his den. Because doubt will come, distraction will come, the temptation to revert will scream for your attention. Ignore it. When it whispers, just this once, respond, not anymore. When it says, you've done enough today, say, enough for who? The man I was or the man I'm becoming? Because you must understand, the old version of you doesn't leave quietly. He claws, he bargains, he rationalizes. And if you entertain him for one moment, you breathe life back into your limits. This is why I tell you, do not negotiate with your old self. Starve him. Ignore him. Replace him with new rituals, with new beliefs, with new standards so strong they choke out the weakness you once called normal. You do not need more information. You need immersion, complete radical immersion into the life you were meant to live. Read what strengthens you. Listen to what sharpens you. Surround yourself only with those who remind you of your greatness, not your excuses. Audit your circle, because growth will make you outgrow people, and that is not betrayal, it is alignment. Some people will call your change arrogance. Let them. They are addicted to the version of you that made them comfortable, but you did not come this far to remain small for their approval. You came to become fire, and fire does not ask for permission. Fire does not apologize for burning away what cannot come with it. You were never meant to fit in. You were meant to rise. And rising requires that you offend your past, that you disrupt your patterns, that you kill off every version of yourself that was built to survive so you can thrive. Yes, kill him. The lazy you, the anxious you, the overthinking you, the insecure you. They were built from past pain, past conditioning, past compromise. They are not who you are. They are who you learn to be. And what is learned can be unlearned, but only through action. Do not try to heal the old version of you. That is not your job anymore. Your job is to replace him with someone stronger, someone wiser, someone who wakes up with purpose and goes to bed with progress. Your job is to show up for your future self like your life depends on it, because it does. Let me tell you the truth. Most will never speak. Success is not kind. It is not soft. It does not make exceptions for emotion. Success demands that you let go of every belief that coddles your weakness. The man who waits to feel ready will never evolve. But the man who moves forward despite fear, he is the man who builds an unshakable legacy. He is the man who no longer operates on motivation but on standards. He is the man who no longer needs approval because he approves of himself. He is the man who no longer asks, can I become great? But instead expects to be great, because he lives in a way that greatness becomes unavoidable. You must become that man. And becoming him is a violent process. It will require that you outwork, outthink, and outlast the version of you that settles. But hear me clearly. It is possible. And not because you're special, but because you are willing. Willing to pay the price in discomfort. Willing to walk alone when necessary. Willing to demand results even when no one is watching. Because that's where your evolution happens. Not when you're celebrated, but when you're disciplined in the dark. Not when you feel like it, but when you act anyway. Not when the crowd claps, but when you applaud yourself for doing what was necessary. And if you keep going long enough, the man who once had potential becomes the man who fulfills it. Because you kept the promise to outgrow the man who feared rejection, the man who stayed small to be accepted, the man who played safe to avoid discomfort. You buried him, and in his place you built someone undeniable, someone whose life is proof that discipline is divine, someone whose habits scream, I was not born to blend, I was born to break patterns. Because here is the highest truth of all. The most powerful version of you has always been there waiting. Not for luck, not for rescue, but for you to finally stop apologizing for your hunger. And that is what this entire journey is about. Not becoming someone else, but removing everything that isn't you. The fear, not you. The excuses, not you. The laziness, not you. Those are hand-me-down behaviors from a former self who didn't know his own power. But now you know. And when you know, you can never go back. You may falter. You may stumble. But you do not retreat. Because you have seen too much, felt too much, evolved too much. There is no going back. There is only up. So rise one more time, one more level, one more version. And this time make the decision that this version of you, the focused one, the bold one, the one who forces himself to grow, this one stays. There is no greater war than the one between who you were and who you are destined to be. And that war is not fought once. It is fought every morning, every decision, every act of resistance against the voice that says, stay the same. But let me tell you what the world won't. Staying the same is suffering disguised as safety. The man who refuses to grow is not avoiding pain. He's only choosing a slower, quieter form of it. Stagnation feels safe until you realize the cost. Until you wake up one day surrounded by mediocrity, buried in regret, and haunted by the man you could have been. That's why I tell you now, be ruthless with your evolution. Don't just outgrow the old you. Bury him beneath a mountain of discipline and new standards so high he could never climb back. Because you must understand, the process of becoming unrecognizable is not poetic, it's not romantic, it's violent, and it must be. If you are going to be reborn, the old must be burned. That means no more negotiating with your patterns. That means no more conversations with doubt. That means no more romanticizing your distractions, justifying your inaction, or excusing your softness. You are either ascending or rotting. You are either leading yourself with ruthless focus or following your impulses into decay. And if you want freedom, real freedom, the kind few ever taste, it only comes through discipline. It only comes when your standards are so high that your old self gasps for air in their presence. He cannot survive in your new environment because your new environment is built for performance, is built for power, for purpose, for persistence, and your old identity. He's allergic to that level of expectation. Let him suffocate. Let the weak man die. The one who said tomorrow, the one who waited to feel inspired, the one who repeated the same year again and again and called it growth. He was never going to take you anywhere. He was a placeholder, a shadow of who you were meant to be. But now you lead. You are no longer a passenger in your own story. You have taken the wheel, and with that power comes responsibility to execute, to endure, to evolve without asking permission. You don't need support. You don't need consensus. You need standards, because a man with standards does not need to be motivated. His life moves in alignment with his decisions. Every action, every step, every breath measured against one question: does this serve the man I am becoming? If yes, it stays. If no, it dies. That's how you grow. You subtract, you strip, you sever, until only truth remains, until only strength remains. And in that space, the new you emerges not just more powerful, but unshakable. Because when you've killed every excuse, every weak identity, every self-limiting belief, what's left is a man who cannot be broken. A man whose results are not random, they are engineered. A man who doesn't hope for success, he expects it. Because he lives in a way that demands it. And that expectation, it rewires your world, it shapes your posture, your voice, your presence. People feel it. They may not know what's changed, but they'll know something has. Because you'll no longer carry the weight of who you used to be. You'll walk in the power of who you chose to become. And in that moment, you no longer speak to life like a beggar. You speak like a builder. You say, this is my standard, this is my path, this is my legacy. And anything that does not align with that, be it habit, relationship, or thought, will not survive. Yes, there will be grief in the process. Grief for the man you used to be. The one who was liked, accepted, predictable, but you must grieve him fast because he was keeping you average. And you were not built for average. You were built to embody fire, to carve your name into history with work ethic and vision and unbreakable will. You were built to lead your life like a general commands an army, with clarity, with presence, with intentional violence against anything that dares threaten the mission. And what is the mission? To become the man no one thought you could be, especially the man you used to be. That is your duty now. Not to outshine others, not to prove the doubters wrong, but to prove your highest self right. He is watching, he is waiting, he is whispering, don't stop, don't slip, don't settle, because he knows what's at stake. He knows what happens if you slow down, if you go soft, if you forget why you started. The old version of you wins. And if he wins, you lose everything. That is the battle. That is the war. And that is why you must go further than you've ever gone. You must push through fatigue with fury. You must rise in pain with precision. You must move in fear with faith. Because faith is not just spiritual, faith is strategic. It is the belief that if you keep showing up, keep showing discipline, keep killing off what no longer belongs, then the life you seek will be forced to manifest. It will not be given. It will not be gifted. It will be dragged into existence by the man who outgrew every weaker version of himself and never looked back. That is you. The man who stopped waiting for growth and chose to force it. The man who bled out his excuses and stood tall in their absence. The man who mastered his impulses, his schedule, his mind, until success became predictable. You see, real transformation is not a moment. It is a series of moments where you chose courage over comfort, clarity over confusion, creation over convenience. And that choice, it becomes your identity. So don't stop now, not when you're this close, because the final test is always the loudest. Your old self will scream, your fatigue will grow, the pressure will mount, but that's not a sign to quit. It's a signal. It means the old you is on life support. One more push, one more refusal to give in, one more hour of action with no audience, no applause, no approval, and he's gone. You will have replaced him. Not with someone who has it all figured out, but with someone who refuses to stop figuring it out. That man, He is unstoppable. That man, he is inevitable. That man, he is you. And now, as you move forward, understand this. There is no finish line. There is no final version. Because outgrowing the old you is not a phase. It is a lifestyle. It is a daily death and a daily resurrection. It is a relentless commitment to never retreat, never repeat, never recycle who you've already been. It is a vow that says, I will never be caught living as a shadow of my potential again. That vow is not emotional. It is strategic. It is structural. It is built into your schedule, your habits, your non-negotiables, and it pays you in peace, in power, in presence. You walk taller, speak clearer, lead stronger, because you know you earned it. You earned it in sweat, in silence, in solitude. You earned it by forcing yourself to outgrow what was safe, what was soft, what was familiar. And now, you no longer resemble the man you were. You don't just have better habits. You don't just have a stronger mind. You don't just have more discipline. You have become someone else entirely. And that someone, he doesn't chase success. He attracts it. Because he is success in motion.